as we're going forward and kind of refactoring the platform, we might look at pulling that out, but more importantly, we could start using it as holding up different topics. So if there's other different endpoints that need to consume that data specifically, we could use that as a mechanism for that. So go ahead.
Thank you.
Yep.
I didn't mean to cut you off.
Are you managing the conflict use through Yarn? How are you managing the conflict?
Right now, through Apache and Bari, we're able to build and deploy.
Just turn them off and turn them off.
Yeah.
Not, not starving them down and starving them down.
What do you mean specifically?
Well, with Yarn, I can reduce the resources that topic can have, and I can starve it down.
Well, Yarn's not going to necessarily cover what you have from a storage perspective. It's going to be more what CPU.
What to read it,
Right. So you could look at how much availability you want to give to your topics on that. But right now, we're just building out and deploying the topics directly through Mbari, and then we're having the static configurations on those. Other questions?
I can add a little bit to that topic. One of the things which we find with the question you asked about version incompatibility, we do find that by putting all of that in the same cluster, you run into that problem. Separating out the concerns into smaller clusters to workload management also helps with that aspect. So we have done some of that to look at what are the key components which has to be always on, and separate those concerns out in such a fashion that if it goes down, it doesn't bring down my entire cluster. So we've done a lot of architecture work around that area to make sure that we manage those bits as well.
Thanks, Arthur. Any other questions? I've got one more, and then it'll be about 8:10, so we'll have some more time for networking afterwards, and we can maybe talk to some of the committers and Hortonworks team members here. Mike, this question's maybe for you and James. Tell us a little, tell us a little bit about Hortonworks' involvement in this in the Metron project and their sponsorship. You know, what does it mean for the community, and what does it mean to have Hortonworks back in this project?
So I can speak to that. The Hortonworks got involved early on in the OpenSOC lifecycle. Once we had a prototype ready at Cisco, we needed a partner to be able to really scale it. And Hadoop was so early on, like, you couldn't find any documentation on anything we were trying to do. Storm on Yarn, we were trying to compile Kafka from source, and it was just constantly breaking. There was nothing, you know, you could read or buy a book about any of it. And so we partnered with Hortonworks to bring about the first couple of releases of what used to be OpenSOC and now Metron. So they have been involved in key architectural decisions on the framework, key decisions on the coding and how different pieces should work together. We went through a period where we did our own thing and they did their own thing, but that eventually reunited to bring this to the open source community. So, you want to add to that?
I think also looking at Hortonworks' ability to drive, features that we need within the platform to make different parts of Kafka or Storm or Spark, more efficient. We have a lot of capabilities within the Hortonworks organization and within the community to move things faster. But I think also looking at us being able to shepherd other projects through Apache and the Apache Software Foundation, it's really helping us expedite kind of the centralization of the Metron platform, and then being able to bring in new components and drive new features. So we've had a lot of great leadership within Hortonworks and other components within open source, and now we're able to leverage those same folks to help us move Metron through a lot faster as we start looking to drive, not just platform capabilities, but specific features in terms of the streaming and then other real-time components.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. One last question, and then we'll wrap up. I think it would be good to ask kind of each of you all this question. Where do you see the Apache Metron project 2 years from now? So, Adam, where do you see it in Cap 1? How do you see it evolving? James and Mike, how do you see the project evolving from Hortonworks standpoint? And then Ray, how do you see this project evolving from a partnership standpoint? How do you see your involvement in the project evolving over the next 2 years? So fast forward 2 years, we got a crystal ball. Where is the project here from now? So we'll start with Adam.
So, I think the foundation is well on its way to being in place and being solid. I think where you're going to see a lot of growth, both internally at Capital One and in the open source project, is building out great visualizations and workflows and dashboards to actually really operationalize this and make it not just a tool for data scientists and APT hunters, but actually something you can push out to your SOC staff and your analysts. So I think that'll be a really big area. But I also think that on the data science thing, things will improve. You'll see a lot more, a lot more available to you in terms of building machine learning models and exploring the data. I know these guys are all working on integrating tools like Apache Zeppelin, which will allow you to kind of explore the data much more fluidly. And I think that what we're really hoping we'll see is just a much stronger community, wider community. I think this has, as we can tell just from this room tonight, this has a lot of potential to grow into something really big, which will benefit us all. The more people start contributing code and different additional projects, layers, things like that. So that's what we see.
So I see Metron as sort of pushing the innovation forward and allowing us to, break our dependency on sort of rules-based, deterministic type systems into more of adaptive machine learning type paradigms, and really push as far as innovation and automation and detecting new types of threats, being adaptable to ever-changing threat landscape, being able to produce more effective visualizations, being able to only look at relevant things as opposed to being spammed by a variety of alerts, being able to easier correlate things, and just for the platform to be a de facto standard for people in the SOC. So when you think of a standard tool set that people use in the SOC, your pros, your source fires, and snores, and whatnot, hopefully Metron will raise itself to that level where you think of a standard tool set you should have in a SOC. Metron would be one of those tools mentioned.
I think following up to what these two guys said, I think first, where I'd like to see Metron going first is a really vibrant community where we have a collection of engineers actively committing to it, but then also organizations that are using it, and then also partners that are actively deploying it and giving us a lot of feedback, then also really helping drive a lot of features and capabilities. When I look at what really gets me excited for Metron is making folks within the SOC, more effective, and I mean not saying that they need to work more hours, but they get fewer alerts that they can actively go respond on. But I think when we start looking at this, Hadoop and Metron specifically gives us the capability to consume and ingest a lot more data. But what we want to do is be able to consume and ingest a lot more data, but provide fewer but much more tactical events to chase after. So I really think that with the models and capabilities that the organizations are building out, along with some of the visualizations from Kibana type dashboards and then also Zeppelin notebooks, I think you'll have an integrated suite for where folks can ingest and visualize, but then also explore and build out more forward-looking models for that.
So, of course, everyone had really good points. The analytics, he took all, first out of the gate, right? But building on everything we spoke about, I think a lot of what we see and vision, again, coming back to cyber, and more importantly, more of an enterprise cyber. Right now, cyber is pretty much a byproduct or a necessary evil. As long as we have an enterprise scope in any kind of subsystem of the enterprise, theoretically, cyber and enterprise cyber is actually a component of your enterprise. So with all that said, over the next couple of years, I see people adopting it in a hybrid model for distributed purpose, specific purpose, but more importantly, it could fill a void as this enterprise cyber centralized vision, kind of what data warehousing was years ago when we consolidated disparate online transaction process systems into enterprise data. Same thought there, enterprise cyber.
Great. Thanks, guys. Any more questions before we wrap it up? Got a couple announcements before we let y'all go. Okay. So again, thank you, Karthik. Thank you, folks at Cap One. Thank you, Adam, for presenting. Thank you, James and Mike, for flying in. Thank you, Ray, for coming up from Orlando. And again, thank you all for coming. So Real quick, another event we have coming up. We have our Hortonworks Roadshow on February 2nd in Arlington. Great opportunity to learn more about Hadoop, and great opportunity to interact with some more of the committers, key contributors to Hadoop. So for more information on that, feel free to contact me via the meetup. Get some more information on that. We are working on doing one of these meetups per month in each market. So one in Southern Virginia per month, one in the Tysons Corner area, Virginia, DC metro area per month, and one in the Baltimore, Maryland area per month. Folks, can't do this all on my own, so looking for help if you're interested in becoming a co-organizer. Thank you, Karthik, for becoming a co-organizer. Thank you, Niraj. More than happy to have your help and your input. If your company's interested in hosting, we'd love to have you host as well. So please let me know. Feel free to message me. And finally, but most importantly, before I let y'all go, Niraj and Brandon, please raise your hands in the back. Yeah. These gentlemen will be paying for drinks at the Pub Dog or Thirsty Dog across the street at the Safeway. I just want to let you guys know that. What is it? Lost Dog? Lost Dog. Yeah, Lost Dog. Dog it is. They'll be drinks are on them. So we'll see you guys there. Yeah. Hang out here for a few more minutes and then they'll be fine. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Hey, Michael.